shift insight number one, someone who was overly selfless. So this person was one of my clients who came to me and said, I am in a full-fledged energy crisis. And so that sort of caught me. I said, okay, tell me about that, right? So she began to tell me the things that were getting her sort of down, right? So one of the things was that she had 3 supervisors that worked for her. She was a lab director. And they didn't like each other. So if the two of them came to her, they would say, help us resolve this conflict. Now, some of you may know the rule of emotional triangles. And the rule is that if you try to shift the relationship or solve the problem of a relationship you're not in, you take on the stress of that relationship. And that was what was happening. She was continually trying to solve this relationship that she wasn't in from her position as the third part of the triangle. Then secondly, she told me that she was not happy with her physical health, that she'd been putting on weight, that she felt lethargic, and she said that she just couldn't get to the gym or anything like that because she was too busy. And then thirdly, she had a husband who could cook. Now, many of you may be saying, not a big problem, right? But what she said was, she had to get up early. She would leave at 5 o'clock in the morning to get to work. And so she said her husband got home late at night, loved to cook, he'd cook the dinner, they'd be eating late, she wouldn't digest her food, she couldn't sleep well, and so her energy was depleted. But she wasn't saying anything to him, which was interesting to me. That was the one that she had the most difficulty confronting. So I said to her, well, could you say something to each of these people, right? She said, no, I can't do that. Why not? She said, well, I grew up Catholic. I'm not a big practicing Catholic now, but those stories stick with you. And she said, you're supposed to do things for others, not for yourself. She perceived that she would be seen as selfish if she took a stand. So what we did was we put this continuum together. And I said, okay, let's put unselfish on one end, selfish on the other. Now, given what you said about your Catholic upbringing, I don't think you're going to go to the other extreme. You're never going to become selfish. But what you might be able to do is go somewhere in the middle of that continuum with something that would sort of have you get off the other extreme of being too selfless, right? So here's what we did. Instead of triangulation, we talked about delegation. So what she did was she told those 2 supervisors that weren't getting along, she'd say, I'm not going to solve your problem. You come to me with a solution first. But she didn't abandon them. She coached them on how to be better conflict resolvers. So that was step 1, to get her out of the stress she was taking on from these other people. Then secondly, in regard to lethargy, she turned it to energy. Simply, she still couldn't get to the gym, but what she would do is, she went to the grocery store, she'd park as far away from the door as possible, walk all the way over there, walk all the way back. At work, she wouldn't take the elevator, she'd take the steps. Not rocket science, but simple, shift for her. And then lastly, as I said, the husband was the one that she feared the most. Like, could I stand up to the husband, right? So, again, it's almost embarrassing to say, like, what the solution was. She said, all right, I'm going to go to him, and I'm going to just say, look, I need to eat earlier. So I'm going to have something earlier in the day, but when you come home and cook, I'll still sit with you, and we'll chat about our day, right? he not only didn't refuse, he said, great idea, let's do it. So in just a few simple steps, she didn't go all the way to selfish. She felt okay about what she was doing, but she set some boundary on this kind of selflessness piece, right? So the question then I guess I would ask you all is, if you're one of those selfless types, what small shift could you make to set boundaries for your mental or your physical vitality?